Hello, welcome to Real Magic Review. My name is Steve Faulkner and it's lovely for you to be here. I'm going to a quick live review because I haven't got time to edit much this week, but I really wanted to talk about this because I watched it last night with coins in hand. So we're talking about Mythos. That's what Danny calls it. I don't know how to say it in England. Anyway, Mythos. I'm going to say it how he says it by Danny Goldsmith, and I'm a big Danny Goldsmith fan, so we're going to talk about that. But before I do that, can you please like and subscribe? Checkcourse.com. That's my online card magic course. Live sessions every week, and we are now starting to have appearances. So Peter Wardell tomorrow night is coming to do a lecture, which is going to be lovely. So check out cardmagiccourse.com. It's very, very good, but I would say that. Get my word for it. Check out the website, and you'll be able to find out everything you need on there. Right, so last night I've watched loads of Danny's stuff over the last couple of years. Homage was the first one that I watched of his, which just completely blew me away. And what was the last one with the roly-poly vanish? I can't remember what it was called, but the last one. Anyway, they're all on his. If you look at the underneath the video afterwards, there'll be all the links. His Gumroad store, and you can get everything there. And this was thinking a little bit like, okay, is it another kind of getting something out over lockdown or after lockdown sort of thing? I know he's always working on stuff, and when it's the third thing in a couple of years that you watch, you do think, oh, it's maybe like an addition. And this feels very different, actually. This is really, this idea of mythos or mythos is this idea of there is an existing way of being in magic that is all about method, and this is a new way of looking at it. Well, he says it's not, it's his take on what people have talked about before, and he references Doug Henning's lovely Doug Henning story in this, Tamaritz, Paul Harris, and he's becoming a bit of a kind of Paul Harris character. If you want True Astonishment, there's always lovely footage of Paul Harris walking around woods and lovely glade and things like that. And on Danny's stuff, he's always in these wonderful places. Actually, I'll play a little bit of the trailer now. And again, everywhere Danny is on these things, I kind of want to hang out there and with coins. so that looks like a nice place, doesn't it? And that's where he's filming this, I think, as well in the actual tutorial. Now watch this move. This is what the most of this download is about, is this move, the finger fling. And it's truly brilliant. He'll do it in a minute with the Chinese coin. And in the comments, let me know if you can hear that trailer. Look, boom, there you go. That's what it's all about. There he is in Glades. That is also, that appearance there is just one, which also appears on there. This is filmed for the trailer, a lot of this stuff. It's not directly out of the download, but it shows you what's in it. Look at that. There's a magnet, which I'll talk about in a minute.
In this project.
So, that shows you a lot of the routines, and that one at the end there, that appearance, he does this coin literally appears, no hands, and there's nothing hidden, nothing palmed, and the coin comes out of it. It's astonishing, and it is one of the things in the trailer. It says there's no gimmicks, because you kind of look at it and you think gimmick or something. There really isn't. Oh, he does a kind of talk. He talks about the science of creativity, about approaching this idea of, hey, Nicholas, how you doing? Getting your audience into a state of not knowing, in a state of being analytical, and he talks about that there are two extremes to participants or spectators. One of them is the ones that just go with anything and just love anything and just go with it and think it's all very magical. And on the extreme of that, you have people that actually believe it's magic. And on the other side of that, you get the people that need to know it. Those people that we can find is quite difficult. And what's really interesting is that he talks about how those people on that extreme are kind of a bit like us, that analytical side of it, because that's why we need to know. We need to kind of find out about this. And I've never thought about it like that. Those people that I find difficult as a magician are actually kind of more like me than I'd like to think, really. But anyway, and what he's really talking about is taking those two extremes and putting them into a place where where it's neither of those things, and there are ways of getting people there to a place where they're not analysing, or they're not just going with it, they're in like a third, there's like a third way. And I really like this talk. I feel like this, there's danger of getting a little bit flowery, a little bit woo-woo, and kind of not making much sense. And I like the way Danny takes to almost a spiritual side of it. And I say that carefully, because I think you've got to be very careful with when you say that people don't think it's really too woo-woo and out there. But he does take that, and for some people that's not going to, certain things, some may be a bit much for some people, but for me, I absolutely loved it because it really tapped into stuff that I believe in, but then mixes it with neuroscience and talks about that side of it, which gives it some grounding for a lot of us. Also something I need. So I think that's why it kind of chimes with me. But he's talking about taking the ego out of performing and how we can use presentation in our performance magic, especially in this context, to create something very special. Now, I've got a bit of I've read stuff like this in the past and kind of not really gone with it, because the theory sounds great, and then you read people's presentations of it and you kind of go, yeah, but it still feels like it's just kind of filling space. And he does use this phrase of, he wants presentation to be something that just fills space and is something to say. And when you see it, you kind of see where he's going with that, especially in the first and the last routine on this. So I'll just run through the routines very quickly. The first one is, he talks about the finger fling, which is just one move, which is the thing that is going to, if you're anything like me, you'll get totally addicted to and spend the time with, or you'll go, oh, that's so difficult, I don't want to do it. Stay with it. It starts happening, and it is truly brilliant, but he uses it in a way that's kind of covert a lot of the time. It's not as you think. Yes, he does use it in that way you saw in the trailer, which is very kind of powerful and looks great and very visual, but he uses it in a hidden way. In similar that I saw some people use the muscle pass in different ways to create truly astonishing things. And he does it at the beginning, which is called fiction, where he tells a story. Now, importantly, he talks about different types of presentation. So story is one type of presentation. Character is another type of presentation. Inclusion, including them, is another type of presentation. Creating something different, and then examples of this, which I think is great. So this is a storytelling routine, and the story works really well. It's very magical. He's got some music playing in the background, which actually really helps. And it's got a nice kind of call back to reality bit at the end, which I really liked. And it really works. And more importantly, more importantly, I watched a coin routine, these appearances, and it fooled me. And even though I just learnt this thing, it was incredible. And I thought, there's got to be something else here. And when he talks through how to do it, yes, it's quite, he talks about this trick as being a parlor trick. And some of this stuff is about, sorry, Dave just popped up in story, absolutely. Some of this is kind of, it's a parlor trick that you can do in a certain situation, but he does have a close-up version. But some of this stuff you do need to be sitting down, especially for this. But the way he uses this cup, this is not in an obvious way, and it just got me. He was using techniques that I know, but using them in a way that misdirected me as someone that was doing that analytical thing of what I thought it was so good. And importantly, even if you're going to do that routine, and with all of these routines, you may not take that whole thing word for word and routine for routine. You may think, oh, I'm not going to be sitting there with a cup. You will be able to take stuff from that routine and very easily start putting in work. So that was brilliant. The second one is, what was the guy I'm reading? It's discombobulated, which is almost like an aside. It's a transition. It's a kind of whimsical bit of almost physical comedy where it reminded me of that the whole Cardini thing, of stuff happening to you and you don't know hang on, why is that? I can't remember this thing, and that goes down. It's something you do as a kind of and again, a very lovely appearance of a sort of almost like a spell. It's not spellbound, but the coins keep changing places in your hand. What's the word? Anyway, that was really good. Celestial. Now, I love magnetic coin routines, and he says in it that he doesn't like a lot of the magnetic coin routines. And I remember seeing Shooter Gower doing this. It's just so magical. I just really, that idea of mime and using that convincing way. Now, what he doesn't like with it is that you do that and then you give it to a spectator and they can't magnify, and it's almost like makes them look foolish. which I think is actually delightful to do that with the right person, especially if they're being a bit cocky or you know them really well. There's nothing that I doing a magnetic thing, really convincing someone that they're magnetic and them going, oh, right, and then giving it to them. But as he says, in a lot of situations, you don't want to do that. And this does it in a very different way. And it's this idea that something happens with the earth at a certain time, that for 2 minutes, everything becomes magnetic. And then for the magician, it starts failing. So it's a very different take on it. And he references TJ, the surname if I can't place, but the person that helped him with this, when I'm down in the comments below. So really lovely, and this lovely animation in it where the coin sort of goes, sort of magnetizes, but does it slowly, and loads of good stuff like that. But the last routine is the one that really, I don't know if I've missed one out, I'm afraid, but there's this routine called Through Time at the end, which is, I think, one of the first time traveling routines that really understands, well, not the first one I've seen, especially recently in memory, that actually travel in a way that feels like it's actually happened. It says before it, I'm really pleased to share this with you because I'm really excited about it. It's something he loves to do, and I totally get it. It's just beautiful. You take it for one coin routine. He talks about time travel, and then it finishes off with this loop, which makes it actually feel like it's time travel. And he says he's had people move to tears in it, and I understand that could be in certain situations how you would make people feel. It's really magical. It's totally beautiful. I think is worth the whole price of the package alone is that one routine. It's just great. And then he goes into different uses of the finger fling, and he starts doing it with things like bottle tops and rings. Well, he does a kind of finger fling with a ring that's deceptive. But there's a lot in this, and I actually think that Danny's done something different with this than in all his other things. He's taking presentation, he's talking about it in a realistic way and he's one of the people that can talk about that stuff that feels kind of spiritual, and I think comes from kind of Buddhist thinking of being in the now, not in a really pretentious way. There is something to it. And again, for some people, it might lose him for a minute, but stay with it. But for me, it really chimed well with me. And I think it's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely worth it. Really nicely produced. His teaching is brilliant. He's got an over-the-shoulder shot, so he goes through it from the front and then from the back. And very, very, very strong gimmickless coin magic, which is going to be a challenge for a lot of people. But I think most people will be able to get something from it. And I think this is doable stuff. I do. You know, if you're coming into coin magic, it's going to be hard. But if you've been doing coin magic for a while, I think you'll get a hell of a lot out of it. I loved it. I think it's brilliant. And thank you to Danny for sending it to me to add to my collection of his stuff. And I am going to go back and get the stuff that he doesn't put on his Gumroad stuff. I think he did, was it Theory 11 or Penguin or something? Don't quote me on that. But you can get his Illusionist. Maybe it was from Illusionist, I think. So thank you very much. Nice to see you, Dave and Nicholas pop up there. It's always nice when I do a live one that I wasn't planning. But please do like and subscribe. Check out Danny's stuff. Go into the bit below all the information and do buy off of the original. Do not, please, 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 I'm going to do a video about this, about how piracy is now starting to damage the industry. Don't go to the stores and buy the one for £2 ripped off of the site. Please do buy off Danny, because we need people to keep creating magic, and good magic and creative magic like this. It's so, so important. So use the links or Google Danny Goldsmith magic, coin magic, and Gumroad store, buy off his store, and that would be joyous. Have a great one. Take care. See you later.